What if I told you that the founder of a major religious movement never finished college, had a controversial military career, and once participated in occult rituals? Sounds like the plot of a movie, right? It kind of is, but this is also the real-life story of L Ron Hubbard, the man behind Scientology. Born in 1911, Hubbard's early life was marked by grand claims and unfilled potential. He left George Washington University without completing his degree, instead pursuing a career in writing. Hubbard contributed to pulp magazines, penning stories across various genres like westerns, horror, and science fiction. But there's more to Hubbard's story than just his writing career. His life was filled with contradictions and controversies that would shape the foundation of Scientology. And who am I to expose this infamous cult leader? My name is Dr. Salman Aziz Mirza, triple board certified in adult psychiatry, child and adolescent psychiatry, and addiction medicine. And earlier this week, the Church of Scientology mailed me this DVD, Therapy of Torture: The Truth of Electroshock. After I opened the package, a pipe burst in my office, flooding it and causing tens of thousands of dollars of damage to our office building. So maybe these Scientologists do actually have occult superpowers. Before founding Scientology, Hubbard made a name for himself as a prolific writer. He churned out countless stories across various genres, including westerns, horror, and science fiction. This background in storytelling would later prove crucial in shaping his future endeavors. In 1950, Hubbard took a dramatic turn from fiction to nonfiction with the publication of Dianetics, the modern science of mental health. This book introduced several key concepts that would form the foundation of his teachings. Hubbard claimed to have discovered the reactive mind, which he said stored painful memories called engrams. These engrams, he argued, were the root cause of many mental and physical health issues. Hubbard's book proposed a solution, the process called auditing. Through this technique, he claimed individuals could confront and erase their engrams, achieving a state he called clear. This state, according to Hubbard, would lead to improved mental and physical health. Dianetics quickly gained popularity, becoming a bestseller and sparking a movement across the United States. Dianetics auditing groups sprang up, attracting people eager to try this new approach to self-improvement. However, not everyone was convinced. The medical and psychiatric communities viewed Hubbard's claims with skepticism. As Dianetics evolved, Hubbard began to shift his focus. He moved away from presenting ideas as purely scientific and started incorporating more spiritual elements. This transition marked the birth of Scientology. Hubbard introduced new concepts like the thetan, which he described as a person's spiritual being. Despite Hubbard's claims of scientific validity, his work lacked credibility in the scientific community. His assertion about the e-meter, a device used in auditing, and the processes involved in Dianetics were widely criticized as pseudoscientific. Hubbard's approach favored personal anecdotes and experiences over empirical evidence, leading to ongoing disputes about the validity of his claims. Interestingly, Hubbard's background in science fiction played a significant role in shaping Scientology. He used his storytelling skills to construct an elaborate mythos for his new religion, complete with tales of intergalactic civilizations and cosmic battles. As Scientology grew, so did Hubbard's disdain for traditional mental health practices. He began to view psychiatry as harmful and counterproductive. In his own words, Hubbard stated that, quote, the effects of medical and psychiatric drugs are as disastrous, end quote, as illicit drugs. This anti-psychiatry stance would become a defining feature of Scientology, setting it at odds with mainstream mental health approaches. Now that we've explored Hubbard's early career as a writer, let's turn our attention to his military service and some intriguing occult connections. Hubbard's military career during World War II is a subject of much debate. He often portrayed himself as a decorated war hero, but the reality paints a very different picture. Hubbard did serve in the Navy, briefly commanding 2 ships. However, he was removed from command both times. His service records reveal a less glamorous story than the one he told. While Hubbard claimed to have earned 21 medals, including a Purple Heart, official records show he received only 4 non-combat medals. His wartime exploits were largely exaggerated. In one instance, Hubbard reported engaging enemy submarines, but it turned out he had mistakenly attacked a known magnetic deposit. Another time, he fired onto Mexican territory, nearly causing a diplomatic incident. Hubbard's military service ended not with heroic deeds, but as a patient at Oak Knoll Naval Hospital. He was diagnosed with various ailments, including conjunctivitis, ulcers, and malaria. This gap between Hubbard's claims and reality would become a recurring theme in his life. After the war, Hubbard's life took an unexpected turn. He became involved with Jack Parsons, a rocket engineer who followed the teachings of occultist Aleister Crowley. Together, they participated in a ritual called the Babylon Working. This ceremony aimed to summon a goddess to give birth to the Antichrist. I'll say it again, summoning a goddess to give birth to the Antichrist. During his time with Parsons, Hubbard reportedly engaged in sex magic rituals. These practices were meant to summon more supernatural forces. This period marks an important shift in Hubbard's interests, blending science fiction with occult practices. This mix would later shape many of Scientology's teachings. Hubbard's relationships with Parsons ended poorly. He left with Parsons' girlfriend and a significant amount of money meant for a business venture. This incident left Parsons shattered and highlights Hubbard's complicated personal relationships as well as financial motivations. These experiences likely influenced Hubbard's later beliefs and the formation of Scientology. His military service, though less heroic than claimed, gave him a taste for authority and leadership. The occult practices he explored with Parsons introduced him to alternative spiritual ideas and rituals. It's worth noting that Hubbard's stance on mental health changed over time. Initially, he showed enthusiasm for psychiatric approaches. However, his views shifted dramatically, leading to Scientology's well-known opposition to psychiatry. This change seems linked to Hubbard's personal experiences and perceived failures in the psychiatric community. How did a science fiction writer with a questionable military record and occult interest end up founding a new religion? And why did this religion take such a strong stance against psychiatry? In the early 1950s, Hubbard's work on Dianetics evolved into something more ambitious. He repackaged his ideas as a full-fledged religion, officially establishing the Church of Scientology in 1954. This shift allowed Hubbard to present his teachings as spiritual truths rather than just self-help techniques. Scientology introduced several key concepts that set it apart from other belief systems. The central idea is the notion of theans. Hubbard described theans as the spiritual essence of individuals, claiming they've existed for trillions of years and lived countless past lives. This concept borrows elements from Eastern religions, blending them with Hubbard's unique perspective. Another core practice in Scientology is auditing. During an auditing session, a trained Scientologist uses a device called an e-meter to help individuals confront and clear negative past experiences. Hubbard termed these experiences engrams. The ultimate goal of auditing is to reach a state called clear, where a person is free from the influence of past traumas. As Scientology grew, so did Hubbard's animosity towards psychiatry. This hostility wasn't present from the start. In fact, Hubbard initially acknowledged psychiatry as a legitimate field. However, his attitude changed dramatically over time, particularly after the rise of psychopharmacological treatments in the mid-1950s, most likely seeing this as a threat to his newfound cult. Hubbard's growing opposition to psychiatry led him to frame it as not just a rival profession, but as a genuine threat to society. He coined the term psychs to refer to psychiatrists, portraying them as enemies of both Scientology and humanity at large. This narrative positioned Scientology as a necessary defense against what Hubbard saw as oppressive medical practices. To further his anti-psychiatry agenda, Hubbard established the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. This organization continues to promote Scientology's views on mental health, criticizing psychiatric practices and advocating for Scientology's methods as superior alternatives. They are the ones who sent me the DVD and totally burst my pipes. It's worth noting that Hubbard's stance against psychiatry likely had personal roots. His own struggles with mental health and perceived failures in the psychiatric field seem to have fueled his opposition. What began as professional rivalry evolved into a deeply personal crusade, shaping one of Scientology's most controversial aspects. Hubbard was known for making bold statements about his life and achievements. These claims often went far beyond mere exaggeration. In fact, a judge once described Hubbard as a pathological liar when it comes to his history, background, and achievements. This pattern of embellishment wasn't just a personal quirk. It became a cornerstone of Scientology's narrative. As Scientology grew, it evolved into a highly organized and secretive organization. Hubbard's teachings, which span millions of words, became the foundation for a complex system of beliefs and practices. The Church of Scientology is often described as one of the world's most controversial and secretive religions. This secrecy has fueled both curiosity and criticism over the years. Hubbard's approach to leadership fostered a culture that was intolerant of criticism. He wrote a code of honor that urged followers to, quote, never desert a group to which you owe your support. This idea, combined with a suspicious view of the outside world, created a tight-knit community resistant to outside influence. The Church of Scientology has faced numerous legal challenges since its inception. These range from accusations of fraud to more serious allegations of criminal activities. The Church's response to these challenges often reflects the aggressive tactics Hubbard encouraged. He famously told his followers, "Don't ever defend, always attack." This approach has led to a pattern of intimidation against critics and legal harassment. Hubbard's personal life was marked by turmoil, including financial troubles and allegations of abusive behavior in his marriages. His second wife, Sarah Northrup, made particularly troubling claims. She accused Hubbard of subjecting her to, quote, scientific torture experiments, and claimed he suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. Even after Hubbard's death in 1986, his influence on Scientology remained strong. The Church elevated him to an almost divine status, claiming he had ascended to continue his work in another dimension. This mythical status has reinforced the loyalty and intensity of his followers. Within Scientology, Hubbard is known as the Source. This means that all of his writings are considered sacred texts. Any deviation from his teachings is seen as a serious offense. This reverence for Hubbard's words ensures that his ideas, including his views on psychiatry, continue to shape the Church's operations. Hubbard's legacy is a mix of devoted followers and fierce critics. His teachings have created a global organization with significant resources and influence. At the same time, the controversies surrounding Scientology have led to ongoing scrutiny and criticism from former members, mental health professionals, and the media. L Ron Hubbard may be dead and gone, but his ideas live on through Scientology. The organization he founded continues to shape lives and spark controversy. Hubbard's teachings remain central to Scientology's practices, with his words treated as sacred texts. This devotion to the Source ensures his anti-psychiatry stance and other beliefs persist. The impact of Hubbard's legacy extends far beyond Scientology itself. In future episodes, we'll explore how his ideas have influenced broader discussions about mental health and personal growth. We'll also examine the organization's interactions with celebrities, critics, and former members. As we wrap up this look at L Ron Hubbard, I encourage you to think critically about charismatic leaders and their claims. Question bold statements, seek evidence, and remember that even compelling stories may not always align with reality. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and join us next time as we dive deeper into the world of Scientology. Make sure to like and subscribe, share with your family and friends, and comment below with any thoughts. Stay safe, and be well.